This is the life, this is the life.
Right, Kelly Khumalo has not been formally charged for Senzo Meyiwa's death. That's the word from her lawyers. 5 suspects, of course, appeared in court last week on murder charges. Khumalo has been named in a leaked charge sheet for her apparent connection to the murder. Pule Letswiti sat down with her lawyers and he joins me now. Now, Pule, this is a cold case, and last week this phenomenal breakthrough that we might finally find out who was behind Senzo Meyiwa's murder. That charge sheet basically suggested that we needed to find out what his girlfriend at the time, Kelly Khumalo's, connection potentially to those charged with his murder. You have spoken to her lawyer, and I'm not surprised she's getting legal representation. What did he say to you?
Well, firstly, Sally, she had told me that she's been the legal attorney for Kelly Khumalo for quite some time. But furthermore, she's actually slammed the alleged leaked documents by the authorities, saying it was malicious and it had intent to not only scrutinize but damage her integrity as well. But furthermore, as we speak to the lawyer, what we actually asked was a crucial question. Does your client, Kelly Khumalo, know any of the suspects that appeared in the doc? And she said, no, absolutely not. There's no connection, and she knows nothing about that sort. And she's actually adamant that they've been cooperating with the authorities.
All right, and I know that you've set up a clip for us, so let's take a listen.
Sure.
The client, Kelly Khumalo, know any of the 5 suspects who have been arrested and have appeared before the courts?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And the investigation, the statements, the events that unfolded have been thoroughly analyzed by the police over the years. But there is no knowledge of the 5 individuals.
You also got some insight into Kelly Khumalo's relationship with Senzo Meyiwa, a little bit more about whether they were actually, how serious they were as a couple.
Definitely. What we're getting is that, they were quite in a serious relationship. In fact, we are told that there was intention from the late Senzo Meyiwa to actually marry Kelly Khumalo. And in fact, she goes to the fact that, yes, we know that they have a daughter together. And, there was a bit of tension as well from the father. It goes to the fact of saying Kelly had been under scrutiny and harassed for quite some time, to a point whereby they had to intervene. But furthermore, she says from the spokesperson of the family and, of course, the brother of Senzo, saying they had also come to the table to admit that, the relationship was quite solid. But what went wrong, that has not been disclosed.
All right, and I believe you had a clip on that as well. Let's take a listen.
There is also the creation of fear and intimidation or imminent threats. If such a bold, now I'm going to the article of the 31st, of which the leaked document was expressed, which would then go to say there was a hitman, and that now has been taken out of the picture. We're now dealing with a robbery as it was indicated. But indeed it was malicious. It had malicious intent to create sensationalism around an individual who is continuously and under perpetual harassment.
Now, it's interesting because the authorities have been at pains to say this was accidental. It was meant to be handed over to the authorities, to the police or to the Hawks, I can't remember who was receiving what, and it was accidentally put into the information that was sent out to the media. How is Kelly Khumalo's lawyer going to prove malicious intent, and what are they going to do about this at this point? Anything? Are they taking any legal action?
Well, what they're saying is that they're waiting for the investigations to be complete before they can be in the next further step of action. But of course, they've boldly come out to say she is not implicated. She did not or was not involved in this. In fact, they're saying she played a vital role in terms of trying to rush Senzo to the hospital when he was, of course, hurt and of being shot by the thugs who had allegedly come in and robbed at the scene. But what I also need to emphasize is that we actually spent about 4 to 6 days trying to secure this interview with the legal attorney. Kaylee wasn't available to talk, and that also speaks volume of how her coming out now and speaking out is actually saying that she's pleading innocence. So there's quite a lot there to look into as well, sir.
And just in terms of the case, we saw these arrests last week. This is such a pivotal thing because, of course, we've waited 6 years for a real solid breakthrough. We then saw confusion, with the AfriForum, who are actually looking after the family's interests, saying that the police had told them emphatically this was a hit. But then the NPA were a lot more cautious, saying, well, we're still charging for robbery at this stage. And it was clear they were still unfolding certain aspects of the case. Even that document that was accidentally leaked or maliciously leaked, who knows, was clear that they still needed to trace certain records that may or may not link Kelly Khumalo to any of the killers. Yes. We are also hearing that there are going to potentially be 3 more arrests this week. Is there any certainty on that? Any more clues that you can tell us about that?
Well, with the people I've been in contact with, Sally, sources closely speaking to us saying that is expected. I tried to actually bring that towards the lawyer yesterday. I'm saying, are you aware of this? And she actually, bravely said, no, we are not. In fact, she goes to an extent of saying these are the kind of things she's talking about in terms of the discrepancies in the investigations. Now, one of the biggest things that have also been a problem here is the communication line between not only the authorities but with the family as well. You would recall Advocate Kherinel from AfriForum saying that there hasn't been a thorough communication with the family. It seems as though only now when these investigations are developing and intensifying, there seems to be a lot that is being said and they're close to the truth. However, what they're also saying is that it seems as though there could have been potential interference with the investigations at its early stages. So that's quite a lot to look into, and the family, all they want for now is dignity.
Yeah, and it's so tragic that the father, the late father of Senzo Meyiwa, was in fact given a tip-off. And I understand, or certainly from the media reports that I've been reading, is that it is indeed one of those people who is now arrested.
Look, what we also know, Sally, is that, in this interview, as you'd see it later, we went into intense questions as well to ask that, did Kelly ever give anyone an amount of about 400,000 for any special project or anything as a broad question? She also denied that, saying she's not aware of that. But as far as her concern, she did not know any of those transactions taking place. But most importantly, just before we leave, Sally, to reiterate this question, the question was, what happened after the day, or rather the day after Senzo was murdered? Who did Kelly see? Who did she consult with? Was there any telephonic interviews that were conducted? And she is not aware of any that took place. In fact, as we continue again later, I will then tell you who she actually was allegedly to have seen after the whole incident happened.
You can't keep me waiting. You have to tell me right now. What about people who have to rush off and do their shopping? You can't leave them in suspense.
Well, the package will just, unfold everything as it happens. But yeah, you just have to wait and see.
And is this coming from the lawyer as well?
Yes, okay. Definitely. And it actually outlines how this actually, the brief outlines how this unfolded. The report actually shows the kind of communication that has been taking place, how they actually feel as though there's been unfair treatment from the media in terms of, these documents that are leaked, all of this, and all they're saying is that they wish it could be a fair investigative process. But furthermore, I think it's quite interesting to hear what the family has to say about this whole matter as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much for your reporting on this story. Pule Leswiti, of course, is a reporter for ETV.